The GX-85 is my micro four thirds camera of choice for dental photography right now. What we're going to do is start with the GX-85. I've plugged in the Olympus 60mm macro lens. That's the one I recommend, 60mm. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do is hit the menu button right here. Okay, and we're going to go ahead and reset the camera. Now, I'm doing this as if you've owned the camera before. This is a way to kind of walk through and power wash it, if you will, if you get yourself into trouble. So we're going to hit the reset button right there. Do you want to reset your drive mode? Yes. Okay, and then it's going to ask you if you want to reset your facial profile, recognition and profile. Just hit yes. Okay. And then reset setup custom settings. Yes. We're just going to reset everything. We're going to blow everything out. It actually leaves a couple things, but let's start by going back up to we're going to go through menu by menu in this camera for setting it up now that it's new in the box. When you first get the camera, you're going to actually see it's on the clocks. It'll ask you for a time, hopefully. You're going to go ahead and enter the time in. That's kind of self-explanatory, and then hit set. Okay? We're going to go up menu by menu with the settings that we need to do to set up this camera for dental photography. First one is to hit the camera, and on screen 1 you'll see photo style. So the photo style you want to pick is actually natural. Hit set. The next thing, filters off, aspect 4:3, leave that. Picture size is large, leave that. Quality is fine. The 6 blocks is fine. 3 blocks is, this is very fine, fine. Raw plus very fine, raw plus fine, and then raw. In my office, we just use the super fine or even the fine. It's enough. If you're capturing a picture with correct exposure and the correct color balance, raw becomes much less valuable to me for day-to-day use. You know, if you have something important or tricky, you can change it temporarily to raw if you like, or shoot in raw all the time. I'll leave that up to you. On the second screen, nothing here I'm going to change from default on the second screen. Everything here I'd leave default. Everything here I'd leave default. Everything here I would leave default. Everything on the 6th screen. Yes, there's a lot of screens. But I just want to walk through these screens for you for reference. I'm going to skip through, and there really isn't anything else here. There's one setting here to set, and that's on the 8th screen. It's going to come up again as a stabilizer. In operation, you want to leave it stabilized for still pictures. For video, I like to have it on also. Okay, that's going to give you a much smoother video picture, particularly with the 60 lens that isn't stabilized. Okay, we're going to touch that. And now the next menu you want to walk through is the video setting menu. Okay, that's the second icon here. For photo style, we're going to also want it on natural, filters off, snap movie off. If you turn on snap movie by accident, you're going to be really frustrated because snap movie makes lots of 5-second clips. So leave that off. Record format, I like MP4, easy to edit, so leave it at that. Okay, easy to edit, easy to copy off your computer or to your computer. I actually jumped out, so I'm going to hit menu again, and that puts me back in. We're back in the camera. So MP4 record format, leave that the same. Record quality, this is the other one you're going to want to set. I'm going to recommend for most people, either you're going to want 4K 30 frames per second or full HD, which is 1080p at 30 frames a second. I don't like 60 frames a second. I would recommend one of those two, but for most people, we're going to recommend the 4K 30 frames per second if you want that wow in your video and have a very fast memory card. If you don't have a very fast memory card, and by that I mean UHS 1 or faster, then pick full HD 30 frames a second. Okay, that would be 1080p. Only use 4K if you're buying nice memory cards. Otherwise, you'll get skips in your video. Next thing we're going to talk about, focus mode, leave that the same. Leave that default. And then there's a stabilizer again. It's the exact same menu as before, as on the camera menu screen. So if you hit it, you'll see the same exact options. We've already changed that. And that's pretty much the only thing you need to set here. When you get into video, you'll play with those a little bit more later. The custom wrench menu, custom set memory we're going to come back to. Silent mode, no, leave everything else the same. Shutter AF means that if you half press on the shutter, it starts autofocusing. That's what most dental staff and dentists tend to expect. Half press release, no, leave everything else the same. Leave everything there the same on the fourth screen. Everything there the same. On the fifth screen, there's one little jewel I found hidden there, and this is monochrome live view. Now, this one is going to be optional, but if you do a lot of aesthetic dentistry, and especially if you do shade taking, this is a really cool trick. If you turn it on, whenever you aim at something, everything is in black and white. The viewfinder is black and white, but your picture will still be color. But when you look at all these number 2 shades, you'll see they're all the same exact color on the monochrome, so you don't get fooled by color shifts. That's really nice when you're taking shades. You can hold this in monochrome live view in front of your patient's teeth. Shooting your shade tabs, aiming in black and white, you'll instantly be able to tell values so much better. That's an option for you if you want to turn that on, or if you want to leave it off for more traditional color view. I like it on. You'll see when you play back your pictures, they'll still be in color. Constant preview, leave that off. Exposure meter, you can leave that on. Dial guide, you can leave that on. Most of these you can leave the same. Yeah, there's not much here I would change. Other than that, nope. Okay, let's go to the wrench button. Okay, again, clock set. Wi-Fi you can play around with if you need to transfer things to your camera. That's in the manual. I'm not going to go over that because not everyone uses that. The beep, you can change your beep volume here. I like a little bit more subdued beep, but you can decide for yourself. If you want the default loud beep, that's okay too. And then let's see, everything else I think we leave default on here. Yep, that's it. So that is all the menus that you need to know for this camera. Let's go on. I know we're 10 minutes in, but we're almost done. Okay, so now I'm going to switch my mode, if you haven't already, to manual mode. That's M here. We're going to go ahead and turn the wheel, the aperture wheel. That is the wheel up here, up by the trigger here. We're going to turn that, and you can see the number in the lower left there change. That number then in the lower left is changing. We want to change that number to 16. Okay, F16 is the magic number for Micro Four Thirds. Oh, but I thought Dr. So-and-so in my photography class taught me F22, and I must use a ring flash. Well, if you're using a Canon or Nikon SLR, you have a bigger sensor, and yes, you need F22 for those. But for this smaller sensor, you can use F16. Actually, you can use F11, but 16 gives us a little more wiggle room. Okay, so here is the wheel. Here is for shutter speed. We're going to turn that to 1/160th. Now, normally in my photo classes, I teach 1/200th, but this particular camera, the flash synchronizes at 1/160th. So that is what we're going to use here for this camera. So next button is the ISO button. That is right here, ISO. I don't know why it's not showing very well, but there you go. Hit the ISO button right here. Okay, and our ISO, we're going to set that ISO to 400. Okay, in previous videos I've said 200. 400 will let your flash work about half as hard, so that will give you a faster flash recovery time. That's why I went to 400. There's a slight cost to image quality, so if you want the maximum image quality, set your ISO to 200. But if you want a little bit, you want a slight compromise, you can set it to 400. If you really want fast flash recovery, you can set it to 800. To me, that's a little bit grainy, so I like 400. Next, we're going to go ahead and set our white balance. That's this button right here. Okay, our white balance. You're going to go ahead and pick the white balance you want to pick is the flash white balance right there. Okay, so go ahead and hit menu to set it in the middle. Okay, now that that's done, we've set pretty much everything. Now we're going to go ahead and install the flash. Okay, for the flash settings, this is the Panasonic FL200L flash. We're going to go ahead and you can hold on the on-off button, hold it down to turn it on. I've already done so. Once it's on and charged, you'll see a red and green light. Then we'll go ahead and have the TTL on there, and then this dial here set to TTL, this is set to 0, and we're ready to install it on the camera. Insert the flash in all the way that it will go, and then lock it down, okay? One other thing that I've added to the shopping list is a USB double docking charger. This is how I'm able to charge the camera when I'm at the operatory. You just plug this in here. You can plug in up to 2 batteries, including the one I just killed, and then plug a micro USB right there, either plugged into either a computer or a phone charger, and then you can charge 2 batteries at once and always have them on hand. Kind of offsets the short battery life that this camera does have as a slight liability. So there you have it. The very last thing I need to do is record these settings so that you have them permanently recorded for the ease of your staff. So you're going to hit menu here, and then you're going to pick the custom menu right there. Okay, custom monkey wrench. Then you're going to go up to the first screen, custom set memory, screen 1. Hit that, and then pick C1. Okay, and then it'll say override current camera settings with custom set 1. Okay, and we've completed it. From now on forward, we should be able to, let's say for instance, we just touch the camera and just totally screw things up. Okay, I've switched to S mode, I've spun the dial, I've hit this, I'm in high rapid fire, everything's all messed up. Let's go ahead and turn the dial to C and watch what happens. All my settings are correct again. That's why I like this camera. This is the lowest priced camera in the entire US market that has a C mode on it, and that alone is worth buying it for, not to mention the fast autofocus and all the other goodies. So IA mode for headshots, C mode for dental shots. That's all you need to remember. This is Vu. Thank you for watching, and I hope this helps.